let's make today's session as well the same, with the same energy and with the same pursuance. So guys, here today we are moving towards our next chapter, which is your exempt income, and then we will go and we'll start with our 5 heads of income, and the first head among them, which will start from house property. Okay, so this is our agenda for our today's morning session. Just a second, just let me go towards your notes. Before going towards your notes, yes, yesterday's session, let's quickly revise what we all learned yesterday, guys, so that you will be recapped about what happened yesterday. Yeah. In the meantime, if you have any queries about your yesterday's session, any particular topic, particular concept, please let me know so I can get you back there as well. Okay, so let me quickly start with the revision of yesterday topics. The first topic which you all learned yesterday was your basic concepts. In basic concepts, you have first learned what is assessment year, what is previous year. We got to know year is physically, practically, financial year is same, just the names are different. Okay, so if it is PY 22-23, the same PY will be denoted as AY 23-24 as well. Why? Because it says that in the previous year you earn the income, and once the financial year, once the previous year finishes, in the assessment year you pay the taxes. But here generally this happens like this. But if you remember, there were 5 exceptions where this used to not happen. Okay, in these exceptions, the people who earn the income in the previous year has to pay tax as well in the previous year itself. Who are these 5 exceptions? Can you repeat with me? Yes. First, shipping business of non-resident. Second, person living India. Third was your AOP BOI form for a particular purpose. Fourth, someone is transferring property in a view to avoid tax. And fifth and the last one was, yes, fifth and the last one was what, guys? You remember it? A person living in India, discontinued business, right? So these were the 5 persons who, whatever income they earn in the previous year, have to pay tax in the previous year itself. Thereafter we have gone and we have seen different types of persons. Almost all the persons we knew individually. AOP BOI was a new. AOP was association of person which can have different type of person coming together. BOI was body of individuals where different individuals come together. You learn more in detail about this in your CA final, where you will see the actual taxation of AOP BOI as well. Okay, and there was HUF. In HUF, what we all learned was that HUF, the family is there, okay, and Hindu undivided family. In this family, whoever takes a birth will be co-partner. The add-on persons will be the members. All co-partners are members, but all members are not co-partner. A woman can be a co-partner in his father's HUF as well as a member in his husband's HUF. Right, everyone clear? Very good. Yes, further we have seen there were 2 schools of thoughts of law. One which says that the Karta should die, then only the property can be divided among all the members. But the other school of thought says that there is no such requirement. One gets the right in the property right from the birth itself. Okay. Going further, then we have seen all different slab rates. Okay, so slab rates for individual below 60 years, basic exemption is 2.5 lakhs, 2.525. Say the percentage. I am seeing the slab, you say the percentage. Okay, you have to say your percentage. घर वालों को भी लगना चाहिए आप पढ़ाई कर रहे हो सुबह सुबह 7 बजे उठकर, right? So 0 to 2.5 lakh, 0%, perfect. 2.5 to 5 lakh, 5%. 5 to 10, 20%, and 10 and above 30%. Very good. For the one who is above 60 or 60, the 0 to 3 lakh is very good. 3 lakh to 5 lakh, and 5 to 10, and 10 and above, perfect. Someone who is above 80 and above 80, जो इतने बेचारे पहुंच गए हैं ये साल तक, so for them again the rate is what? 0 to 5 lakh, absolutely 0%. 5 to 10, 20, 10 and above 30%. The surcharge for individual, the slabs, I'm just talking about the slab. Below 50, no surcharge. 50 to 1 crore, 10%. 1 to 2 crore, 15%. 2 crore to 5 crore, 25%. 5 crore and above, 37% tax, surcharge they have to pay. Always remember, surcharge is tax on tax. And then you have to go for companies. The rate are 25%, 30%, 22%, and 15% for domestic manufacturing and domestic company. Okay, and the rest you will see on the turnover of 400 crore rupees. Thereafter, we have seen one interesting thing about the slab rates of your cooperative society: 0 to 10,000, 10%, 10 to 20, 20, 20,000 to above 30%, right? And then there were all surcharge rate for the respective companies, firms, LLPs as well. Okay, I'm not going into that detail. Going further, one interesting thing which we learned yesterday, one was that was your marginal relief, right? So in case of marginal relief, guys, here we have seen that you can solve the question of marginal relief in 4 different steps. First thing, when you will solve the marginal relief question, whenever your income is near to any particular slab, you will go for this 4 steps. Step 1 says tax on total income. Once again, step 1 says tax on total income. Step 2 says tax on nearest slab plus additional income. जो बहुत स्टूडेंट भूल जाते हैं, ये याद रखना, tax on nearest slab plus additional income. And step 3 says whichever is lower, finalize the same. Step 4 says add the health and education says. This will give you a perfect answer by automatically applying marginal relief. It is if it is applicable. Okay, so this was all the summary of chapter number 1. Okay guys, what I will do, I will just record this all audio. I have already I will just record this all audio and I will put this on my Telegram group as well, so you can get this audio whenever you want to go, so you can travel whenever and you can just listen to me and you can revise all the chapter all together. Okay, going towards the next chapter, that is your chapter number 2. Just a minute. Yeah, it's here. So chapter number 2 was about your residential status and scope of total income. Here guys, what we all learned that individuals income tax liability will be calculated not as per the citizen but as per the residential status, which has nothing to do with the citizenship. In residential status, we give a person 2 chances to be resident of India. First chance is to be there in India in the current previous year for 182 or more days. If it doesn't satisfy this, we'll give one more chance to him to be resident of India, which is in the current previous year he should be there for 60 or more days. In last previous year he should be there for 365 or more days. Okay, and then we'll give him an addition. If we satisfy any one of this, then we'll put them into an additional condition. If we satisfy both of the additional condition, that would be a superb amazing thing. In that case, we would allow him what? We allowed him ROR status. If he doesn't satisfy both of the additional condition, we'll give him RNOR status. Everyone clear? और ये अगर पहले basic condition ही नहीं satisfy कर पाया एक भी, he will be non-resident. What are the additional conditions? That he should be in India for 730 days or more in last 7 previous year, and he should be resident. मतलब ऊपर की दोनों condition he should satisfy in last what, how many years? What do we say? In last 10 previous year, for more than 2 previous year. Okay, just a second, let me see why this is not getting connected. Yeah, okay, so this were the additional conditions. So if they satisfy both of this, he will be ROR. Okay, and if it doesn't satisfy both of this, he will be RNOR. Taking further, what about HUF? In case of HUF, first you will see whether the business of the HUF is whole or even partly in India, resident, not in India, non-resident. And additional condition will put to the Karta. Going further for LLP, partnership firm, what we see the firm's business, if it is partly or completely from India, resident, other than India, non-resident. Pura business outside India hai non-resident. There are no other status for company, firm, LLP and AOP. For company, we see what? POEM. In case of POEM, we'll see place of effective management. What is place of effective management? From where your control and managerial decisions are taken place. If this POEM is in India, your residential status is, yes, what? Resident, or else you are non-resident. Okay, and then the last we have seen the most interesting and the most important matrix, which talks about an Indian income and foreign income. Indian income is the income which is received, deemed to be received, accrued, deemed to be accrued in India. This becomes Indian income. And if Indian and if income is Indian income, it is taxable in all the cases, all the persons. If income and further income of ROR is taxable in again all the cases. When a foreign income is controlled from India, taxable only in ROR and RNOR. Foreign income controlled from outside, not taxable in RNOR and NR as well. Everyone clear? So this was a quick 10 minutes recap for you for your chapter number 1 and chapter number 2. I hope what homework I have given you yesterday, you have done that. I have asked you to complete one complete question of your residential status from your study material. Have you done that? Come on, quickly say me. Yes. Okay. Come on, come on. I'm waiting for your answers. नहीं किया लगता कोई भी. Okay, Malika says yes. It's only Malika who said yes. मतलब सभी ने नहीं किया है. Very good. And Bhumika, guys, please, please, please. I know it's already very difficult because already you're doing 3 sessions, but a small spice up will finish your complete subject. Okay, please try to do it. I know it's very difficult as a student points of view, but you know, in CA, the majority, what happens with the majority fails, the minority passes, right? There are few students who pass, so there are few who will revise, they have greater chances. So please don't go with majority. That's what I always say in my class. If you feel all major students are not doing this, you should do this. That's what, because that's what CA requires. Okay, no problem. Adjust in your schedule, try to do the things, so आपके ये चीजें टॉपिक साथ साथ में खत्म हो जाएंगे. Let's go to the next and let's start with the next topic. The topic number 3, which is your exempt income. Okay, so now exempt income, or which is also known as income which do not form part of total income. So when you calculate the total income from all the heads, okay, when you calculate this total income, this particular income will not be the part of your total income. That's why it is known as exempt income. The first part of this exempt income comes is your income from agriculture operations. So please pay attention, guys, here. Now here, when income will be considered as your agriculture income. See, whenever income is from your agriculture land in India used for agriculture purpose. Okay, so this will be known as agriculture income. Again, I am saying, whenever wait a minute, agriculture income. Okay, when explaining what is agriculture income, they have different parts, which they say is the first, which is known as rent or revenue from agriculture land which is in India and which is used for agriculture purpose only. So whenever you rent out your agriculture land first in India for agriculture use only, all these 3 things should be there. Then and then only income from such land, such rent is exempt. So if, for example, if agriculture land is given for shooting of movie, will that be exempt? No. Why? Because it should be for agriculture purpose only. Say if agriculture land in Sri Lanka has been given on rent, no, that income is not exempt because the land has to be in India only. Okay, so first thing is that the agriculture land from India for the purpose of agriculture. Second, income from sale of agriculture produce. Agriculture means tilling of land, sowing of seeds, similar operation. It involves basic operation and subsequent operation. So guys, see now here, what they say that whenever you produce any agricultural thing, okay, which requires basic operation and subsequent, for example, like say like growing of jawar, okay, or bajra, is itself, it's a basic operation to grow it, but you have to further refine it, you have to sort of clean it to make it sellable in your primary market. So such operation which is required to make your produce eligible to sell in a primary market. Primary market means the grains market and every market. Okay, so this operation is fine. If you do more further operation, then that is not a agriculture produce. For example, you are growing tomatoes. After growing tomato, you are cleaning it, washing it, drying it. That's fine. But thereafter, you are subsequently making tomato ketchup. Then it is no more fine. Then this is no more agriculture produce. Are you understanding? So your basic operation and subsequent operation until unless which makes your product sellable in the primary market is fine. It will be agriculture produce. Agar kuch extra kiya, so it won't be any agriculture produce anymore. Okay, so this two already we have seen, which is your identity, your agriculture income. The third thing which is in agriculture income is rent from a farm building required for agriculture purpose. Okay, so any farm building means any dwelling house which you have rented out with your land as well for the tenant to stay there. Okay, only for the purpose of dwelling. for, and he's dwelling there because for the agriculture purpose again. So in that case, such rent from such farm building will be exempt. So if you have a farmhouse which you rent to tourist, it is not exempt. If you rent to the tenant itself to whom you are given the farm, then it is fine. And last, income from nursery. So nursery means the selling of shrubs, small plants. If you sell them and you earn an income, even that will be agriculture income. So these are the four cases. These are the four cases when an income will be known as the agriculture income, and when an income becomes agriculture income, it is no more part of your total income, and hence it becomes exempt income. Everyone clear? Come on, please quickly repeat with me, revise with me all the four things. First is what, guys? First is your agriculture land in India for agriculture purpose. Second, you are making any agriculture produce. Third, I'm going to go in detail into this agriculture produce, don't worry. Third is your what do we say, dwelling, anything given on of agriculture land on a rent. And fourth and the last thing is your nursery. Everyone will remember all these 4 points? Okay, very good. Now let me go through your agriculture produce. As I have said you, whenever you make such operations which make your produce sellable in the primary market, such operations are eligible, and whatever income you earn by selling this in a primary market is absolutely exempt. But अगर आपने इसमें कुछ एक्स्ट्रा काम किया है, ओके, जो एक्स्ट्रा काम से आपके प्रोडक्ट का पूरा आपके प्रोडक्ट का पूरा फॉर्म बदल गया है, ओके, इट हैज चेंज द कंप्लीट फॉर्म, in that case that won't be eligible for agriculture produce. Okay, but here in a case, okay, I'm giving you an example which will solve, and with solving of this itself you will understand how you can bifurcate agriculture income and business income from one particular product when it is further processed. Okay, so for before going that, I'm going to draw certain thing. Please try to what do we say, please try to guess what I'm drawing. Okay, hopefully आप लोग guess कर लोगे. Yes guys, what is this? Oh, thank you so much, Avni. Yes. Okay. So guys, now here, see, you can see in an example with this beautiful drawing that what you are seeing, that the tomatoes has been grown, which was only guessed by Avni. Thank you so much for that. The tomatoes have been grown, and this tomatoes has been put into a factory for further process, and then it is turned into a ketchup. It may, the bottle may not seem to you a ketchup bottle, but it is a ketchup bottle. Okay. So now here, what happens, see, on this tomatoes you are not only doing a primary or subsequent activities are necessary to make it eligible to sell in a primary market, but you are making it further processing as well. Okay, so it has the further processing as well. So now what happens in such case where the agriculture produce is further processed, we part the ways. Okay, up to this we say, up to this we say, it's agriculture income. After further process we say it is a business income. So how do we divide exactly this agriculture and business income? So everyone please pay attention here. See, say if tomatoes were grown at the cost of 50,000 rupees, okay, we see that when these were made available for the further process, what was the fair market value here? Before the process starts, what was the fair market value of these tomatoes? Say the fair market value of this tomato was 1,50,000. Okay, and then when we sold this ketchup for 3 lakhs. Okay, so now what happens? The up to the fair market value, okay, it becomes agriculture income, and after that it becomes your business income. So guys, what would be agriculture income in this case? Can you please answer me? Okay, you try this. Can you please answer me what would be your agriculture income here? Yes guys, how much would be your agriculture income and how much would be your business income? Come on guys, keep answering. Don't sleep in between, okay? I can see you. Yes, yellow shirt, don't sleep in between. No, guys, how come 1,50,000? Pay attention. 1,50,000 is the fair market value. I'm asking you agriculture income. You have spent 50,000 producing it. Okay, so your agriculture income is 1,50,000 fair market value minus 50,000 which you spent producing it. It is 1 lakh. Okay, and your business income is, so this is your agriculture income, and you're correct. Your business income is 3 lakhs sale value minus fair market value which is 1,50,000, and your business income comes to 1,50,000. This is your business income. You are giving answer of business income, then it's correct. But if you are giving an answer of agriculture income, then it's not correct. Yes, Anisha. Perfect. Everyone clear? So to the value you put it into the further processing, you will check the fair market value. In question, they will specifically give you the fair market value. So take this fair market value and the cost which you are incurred. The difference is your agriculture income, and further the sale value minus the fair market value would be your business income. Everyone clear with this example? Yes, is everyone clear with this example? So if we talk as a formula, so it would be like this. Okay. Now see here. When you sell this in a raw form, okay, when you sell this in a raw form, see, it's absolutely agriculture income. Okay. When you further process it, in case if the process is compulsory to make it eligible in a primary market, no problem, agriculture income. But you do this optional process and extra work here, so your fair market value minus cost will become agriculture income, and sale of final product minus fair market value will become your business income, right? Okay, so this is in a way of formulas, but that was very logical which we played in an example. Okay, do you want to go through one more example? Okay, just let me give you one more example here. I will just change the figures. Say the cost of growing tomatoes is 2 lakhs, fair market value is 5 lakh, selling price is 7 lakh as ketchup. Please say me what is your agriculture income and what is your business income. Cost of producing tomatoes is 2 lakhs. Further, fair market value is 5 lakhs, and your ketchup sale value is 7 lakhs. What is your agriculture income and how much is your business income? No, Shreya, you're doing mistake. The cost of making tomatoes is 2 lakhs and fair market value is 5 lakhs. Yash, yes, Zimba, you're correct. Bhumika, you're correct. Yes, Samitha, Vaishnavi, very good. Very good. Perfect. Okay. So everyone is very, very clear with this. Upon this, there is one example in your study material which you can go through, guys, later on. This question number 1. It's quite interesting question which you should definitely go through later on, which will give you a very complete understanding about this particular concept. Now going to next is your, now in certain business, the 4 types of business, there was problem. What was the problem? That it was difficult to qualify how much is agriculture and how much is business. So government has themselves given a perfect percentage, direct percentage. If you do this process, this much percentage of your income will be agriculture, this much percentage of your income will be business. What are this particular thing? So first, growing and manufacturing of tea. Okay, so if you grow and you manufacture tea, in that case business income is 40% and agriculture income is 60%. So you will see final sales value and cost of making it. The difference is the income. This total income will be divided into 2 parts: business income 60% and your what do we say, agriculture income 40%. Okay, further, Rida, it's 2 lakh. Business income is 2 lakh, not 5 lakh. 7 lakh minus 5 lakh, income will be 2 lakhs. Next, income from growing and manufacturing coffee. If you only grow and cure, that's it. You only grow the coffee and you cure the coffee. In that case, your agriculture income is 75% and 25%. Further, if you grow, cure, roast and ground as well, if you do all these 4 process, in that case your agriculture income would be 60% and business income would be 40%. So if in example they ask you about coffee business, and you have to specifically see that what they are doing with coffee, either they are only growing it or they are growing it, curing it, roasting it and further grounding it. Okay, in that case the agriculture income would be just like tea, coffee. Okay, but if the coffee is in a very raw form, in that case it is 25/75. Last, income from growing and manufacturing of rubber. In case of rubber, the business income is 35% and agriculture income is 65%. So you can simply remember tea, coffee 40/60. Okay, but coffee is only grounded and cured, in that case it is 65 75/25, and the last one is in case of rubber 35/65. So this 4% you have to learn it as it is. There is no other option to this. Now in exam what will happen? अभी तो आप learn कर लोगे. Exam में when you will sit in your examination hall, you will remember that tea coffee was 40/60, but you will be confused. Sir, what was 60 and what was 40? Which is business income, which is agriculture income? So always remember the higher one. Always remember the higher one is agriculture income in all these 4 operations. Everyone clear? Okay. Now, another interesting part of this agriculture income, which talks about agriculture income is exempt from tax, but this will add up to your tax liability in your computation. So see, ऐसे तो agriculture income is exempt, okay, but what will happen if your other income is more than basic exemption? Agriculture income is going to push your all the slabs. So conceptually, I'm just saying you just in a shorter way, in a summary. See what happens when we have learned that the total income was 12 lakhs. We have learned what 0 to 2.5 tax is 0%, right? 2.5 to 5 lakh tax is 5%. 5 to 10 lakhs the tax is 20%, and above this is 30%. Now, when agriculture income is there, what happens? Agriculture income simply shifts all this slab up. So it comes below this. यहाँ पे agriculture income आएगी और इसके ऊपर आपकी बची हुई income जाएगी. So what will happen? The below slabs will be acquired by agriculture income. That will be obviously taxed at 0% only. But बाकी income आपकी क्या हो जाएगी? ऊपर चली जाएगी जिस वजह से वो ऊपर के slab में आ जाएगी. This is what conceptually happens. I can't go in all detail into that because we have lesser time here. So I'm just saying you mechanically how or some steps how we can solve the question when there is an agriculture income in total income. So see, when you have to solve these steps, first when a SSC is AOP, BOI or HUF or individual, in short जिसको slab rates applicable है. Further, when the agriculture income is above 5,000 rupees, okay, and third, when non-agriculture income is more than basic exemption. If these three conditions satisfy, in that case you will do taxation by following these four different steps which I am going to teach you now. Okay, once again I am saying you, first, when the SSC is individual, HUF, AOP, BOI, basically to whom the slab rates are applicable. Second, your agriculture income is more than 5,000 rupees. And third, your non-agriculture income is more than basic exemption. In that case, you will follow this four step for calculating tax in case of agriculture income. Step one is just like our marginal relief, tax on total income. Total income, सब income को लेके tax निकालो. फिर वो basic भी होगा तो भी ले लो, additional agriculture income होगा तो भी ले लो. Okay. Second, add agriculture income with basic exemption. Just add it. Whatever is your agriculture income, add basic exemption to it. So if it is below 60, basic exemption would be 2.5, 60 to 80, 3 lakh, 80 and above 5 lakh. You will add this to the agriculture income. Calculate tax on this step. Then step 1 minus step 3 you will do, and you will add the health and education 6. Your final tax will be there. Okay, once again I am saying, first tax on total income, step 2 agriculture income plus basic exemption, tax on the same, step 1 minus step 3, and then you will add your health and education cess from the same. Everyone clear? Just go through the steps. I am just going to give you one small question for solving here further, so you understand it perfectly. Okay, say me, if someone is having age 25 years, non-agriculture income is 12 lakhs and agriculture income is 3 lakhs. Is the individual? Yes. Is the agriculture income more than 5,000? Yes. If the non-agriculture income is more than 2.5 lakh? Yes. So please go for this. Just do one thing. Make agriculture income 5 lakhs. So total income is 17 lakhs. Please solve this using this step or the step which you have learned, whichever is easy for you. Give me the final answer. How much would be tax for this individual having 12 lakhs as basic income and 5 lakhs as your agriculture income? Yes, please solve it. I'm here itself. Give me the answer. Yes, I'm waiting for your answer, guys. Okay, I got some of the answers here. Very good. Okay, let me solve this. So step one is what, guys? Step one is tax on total income. So tax on 17 lakhs without a health and education says. Okay. So what is the tax here, guys? Because health and education से हम बाद में add कर रहे हैं. 17 lakhs. So 7 lakhs into 30% plus 1 lakh 12,500. So this comes to 3 lakh 22,500. Step 2, agriculture income plus basic exemption. So your agriculture income was 5 lakh, basic exemption is 2.5 lakh. So this comes to how much? 7 lakh 50,000. Step 3 is what? Tax on step 2. So 7 lakh 50,000. So this will be 2 lakh 50,000 into 20% plus 12,500. So this goes to 62,500. Step 4 is step 2 minus step 3, sorry. Okay, so this goes to how much? 3,22,500 minus 62,500, which is which is 2,60,000, and you will add 4% health and education cess into this, and your tax goes to 2,70,400. Yes, very good. Almost every one of you have given a correct answer. एक दो जन नहीं दिए, उन्होंने चेंज करके करेक्ट आंसर कर दिया है. आई एम सो हैप्पी फॉर यू. हाँ, राइट. Okay, very good. So this is how you can easily solve a question when there is agriculture income and agriculture income is above 5,000 further plus your total income is agriculture income, non-agriculture income is below basic exemption limit, above basic exemption limit, and you are individual HUF or AOP BOI. Okay, perfect, very good. Okay, so this was one wholesome big exemption of your this chapter. Rest all exemptions are very simple and are one liner. Okay, so that's all about agriculture income. Hopefully you all have understood it very much nicely. I have tried to give the best from my side. Let me know if anything has to be particularly repeated. For meantime, I am going forward. Now the next exemptions is, now these are one liner exemptions. The one first, income received by member of HUF. So what happens, HUF में already income tax हो रही है. Okay, you have learned the income tax rates of HUF, you have learned the residential status of HUF. So the members, when they are getting the income from the HUF, it is no more taxable. Understanding everyone? Because HUF is already getting taxed. Further, similarly is with partnership firm as well. Partnership firm is already getting taxed. So when the partners get the income share, not salary, okay? Salary is taxable in the hands of partner. When the partners get the profit share, okay, this profit share is exempt in the hands of partner from income tax. Okay, but salary is taxable. Further, interest on money outstanding in an NRE external account. Now see, when there is a non-resident person is having some external account outside, so from income from such account is also exempt for you. Further, now see, we have learned, if you remember yesterday, we have learned the condition that whenever the services are rendered in India, even though salary paid outside India, when the services are rendered in India, it is what? It is it is deemed to be accrued in India. But to make this certain people out of this scope, see, they have given this exemption that remuneration received by a foreign diplomat, consulate and their staff. Okay, so whatever remuneration is received from a foreign diplomat, US का कोई diplomat India में रहता होगा, whatever salary he is getting, he will be not taxed in India if the same remuneration received by our corresponding government official is also not taxed in their country. Further, the above mentioned officer is only doing the duty of which is allowed to do. उसके अलावा he is not engaging himself in a business. In that case, the income earned from such person as a salary, even though services rendered in India, but will be exempt. Okay, so if you exempt our diplomat salary in your country, we will exempt your diplomat salary in our country. Further, similarly, remuneration received by an employee of a foreign enterprise in India if his services for not more than 90 days. Again, what that provision said that whoever even working for 1 day in India and if the salary is paid in US to his own account but services are rendered from India, it is deemed to be accrued in India. But again, an exemption in relation to the same income they have given here if the services are rendered not more than 90 days. In that case, it will be exempt. If more than 90 days, it is deemed to be accrued in India and will be fully taxable. Okay. Further, services in connection with employment on foreign ship, if the total stay in India does not exceed 90 days. Again same, अगर कोई फॉरेन शिप में अगर सर्विसेज देता है वो फॉरेन शिप अगर इंडिया में 90 डेज से कम है, इट्स फाइन. पर अगर इंडिया में 90 डेज से ज्यादा है, इट इज मोर देन 90 डेज इन इंडिया, देन इट इज अगेन टैक्सेबल हियर. Further, remuneration received by foreign government employees during their stay in India for specified training in connection with government. So specific training was arranged by our government for which their employee came here. So whatever remuneration they get in for certain period, this will be not taxed in India. For example, say for G20 summit, some of the other country people have say came into India and been staying for 2-3 months as well. Okay, so as they have came for specific event by government of India or training by government of India, the salary of such person would be not taxed in India. Okay. Further, income arising by way of royalty from or fees from technical services to NTRO. Whoever gives services to NTRO, okay, what we say, National Technical Research Organization, and we pay them royalty, these are exempt. We won't tax them here. Further, payment to Bhopal gas victims, compensation, this is again very important. Compensation received on account of disaster from central government, state government or local authority only. In examination for confusion, they will give you say some NGO, some local people, some other people, local community. This all is not included here. When you get compensation only and only from central government, state government or local authority because of some disaster happen, this compensation will be exempt from your total income. Again, if received only by these three people. So for example, if railway pays you some compensation for any mishap, in this case this won't be taxable, this is exempt. But if some local community pays you for such incident, that is going to be fully taxable. Okay. Further, payment from Sukanya Samruddhi scheme. So this was a new scheme just launched few years back. So whatever maturity payment you get from this scheme is absolutely exempt. Educational scholarships, if you get it from any person, it is absolutely exempt. Payment to MPs, MLAs for daily and constituency allowance. Please remember this. This is one of the MCQ favorite question. In case of MPs and MLA, their salary is taxable not in the salary head, but where? Yes, can you say me? Where the MPs, MLAs salary taxable? In which head? Yes. Come on, everyone, say me in which head salary of MPs, MLA is taxable? Yes, very good, Bhumika. It's taxable in the iOS, but in that as well, if there is any daily and constituency allowance, that is absolutely exempt. Please remember this. Further, awards for literacy, scientific and artistic work by government is exempt. Pension received by individual who have been in service of central or state government has been awarded. Pension of only and only persons who are awarded Paramveer Chakra, Mahavir Chakra, Veer Chakra. In examination, they confuse you by saying they have been very nicely awarded, central government awarded, but no, the award should be only this Paramveer Chakra, Mahavir Chakra, or Veer Chakra. If they have been awarded this and the pension has been paid for these persons, in that case, it will be also exempt from tax. Further, and last, second, any income. See, pay attention here. It is also very interesting. The following income which accrue arises for a Sikkimese individual. The person living in Sikkim, Sikkimese individual, okay, would be exempt from income tax if the income from any source in the state of Sikkim or income by way of dividend and interest. Up in MC question, one of the favorite question is that they ask you the income of Sikkim, only and only the income from other sources is exempt for Sikkimese individual. It's not like that. Income from any source is exempt. Further, income by way of dividend and interest is also exempt. If they are Sikkimese individual. Further, however, the exemption will not be applicable to a Sikkimese woman who, after 1st of April 2008, marries to a non-Sikkimese individual. So, even if she is living in Sikkim, but the individual is not a Sikkimese, in this case, the exemption would be removed. Okay, so a Sikkimese individual, whether men or women, will get an exemption in the income if they are Sikkimese. Further, any source of income with dividend and interest as well. Everyone clear? Just go through it once. Say me if you have any query so far. Okay, very good. Further, last exemption, section 10AA, SEZ exemption. SEZ is your special economic zone. What this says? It says that in here, if your company is established in SEZ, so in proportion of the exports, we will exempt you tax. Okay, you see here how you are going to see proportion. So whatever income you have earned from this SEZ, you'll multiply it by export turnover upon total turnover. So in proportion of your exports, whatever income is there for the first 5 years after coming into the operation in SEZ is 100% exempt. For the next 5 years is 50% exempt. For the next 5 years, it is amount you have credited to SEZ, your SEZ reinvestment allowance reserve, or 50% of export profit, whichever is lower, is exempt. So if you are having an organization into a SEZ for first 5 year, 100% of export profit, not profit, I'm saying export profit. What is export profit? Is your total profit multiplied by export turnover upon total turnover. Next 5 years, it's going to be 50% of the export profit. Uske next 5 years, starting from 11th to 15th year, your exemption would be how much, guys? In this case, your exemption would be 50% of your export profit, or the amount you credit to your reinvestment allowance reserve, whichever is lower. Whatever amount you credit here in the reinvestment allowance reserve has to be utilized to purchase new machinery, plant and machinery up to 3 years from the credit. अगर आपने ये 3 साल के अंत तक ये अमाउंट से नया कुछ प्लांट मशीनरी नहीं परचेज किया, then this will be added back to your tax liability. Everyone clear? Also, whatever sale you do, it should be received by you within 6 months and or limit as per prescribed by RBI. So this is a last exempt income section or exempt income which is given to or companies which have been incorporated in special economic zone. Why? Because special economic zone are certain zone where government specifically makes available all such infrastructure to all such companies who are specifically engaged in exports. Okay, so they also get this benefit in income tax as well. So please remember, it is only for special economic zone. It is only and only for special economic zone, not for DTA or anything like this. Okay, DTA वगैरह के लिए नहीं है, सिर्फ स्पेशल इकोनॉमिक जोन के लिए है. So examiner may confuse you for different thing, but you don't get confused. And the last thing of this chapter, which talks about 14A deduction, it says that whatever expenditure you do to earn this exempt income is not allowed as a deduction into your PGBP. Okay, so for example, if I am doing certain expenditure to earn saving account interest which is exempt up to 10,000, this expenditure will be not allowed as a deduction. It is disallowed under section 14A. If I am doing certain expenditure to earn say any other exempt income, again this particular expenditure to earn exempt, because what, see guys, when income is not taxable, why you will allow you the expenditure, right? So this is disallowed as per section 14A. Okay, so here we finish our chapter number 3. This is an interesting question, guys. Question number 5, which is also then in study material. I will suggest is please do it. We'll see if in the end of session today, if we have time, we'll go through it, or else you have to do it as your homework. Okay, this will give a very nice guidance for you to SEZ. इसमें अब interesting thing क्या है देखो, pay attention in this question. What they have given, they have given the total turnover of Rudra Limited, and they have given the turnover of the DTA. तो आपको एसईजेड का टर्नओवर अलग से निकालना पड़ेगा. आप कैसे निकालोगे? टोटल माइनस डीटीए वुड बी द एसईजेड का टर्नओवर. सो एसईजेड का टर्नओवर वुड बी हाउ मच गाइस? 4 करोड़ टोटल टर्नओवर. एक्सपोर्ट वुड बी हाउ मच? 3 करोड़, राइट? Right. And net profit would be how much? 60 lakhs. So now, and accordingly, now you will see if the first 5 years 100% of export profit, how would you be calculating the export profit? 60 lakhs into 3 crore upon 4 crore. This will give you export profit. If it is first 5 years 100% of this is exempt, next 5 years 50% of this exempt, next 5 years 50% of this or amount which you put into your reinvestment allowance reserve will be exempt. So this is an interesting question. Sometimes it is asked in CA final as well. Okay, what happens in a pressure of examination, we get so much agitated by such questions that हम सोचते नहीं कि इसमें एसजेड का कैसे निकालना है. कभी कभी तो हम यही ले लेते हैं, कभी कभी हम स्किप कर देते हैं, हमें लगता है बहुत डिफिकल्ट है, बट नो, इट्स नॉट वेरी सिंपल. You just subtract your DTA from total, you will get the turnover of SEZ and solve the question accordingly. Okay, yes, so here we finish our chapter number 3, exempt income. So it almost took us an hour to complete this revision. I have tried to concept 100% almost every concept. If you have query in any particular concept, please let me know. I will quickly revise it for you. If no, with 3 minutes break, we will start for our next chapter, which is income from house property, which is on our agenda right now in this class itself. Yes, please let me know your query. Yes, let's take a break of 3 minutes. Until that, you also go drink water, have some tea, coffee. Anyways, I know you would be having मेरे क्लास के साथ साथ में, but still मेरा काम है आपको बोलना. Further, you have query, please message it. Please message the topic. I will take that as well. In meantime, I will just fill my bottle back. Yes, everyone, is it clear? Same here, it is just no. Yesterday you guys were much more active than today. Okay, it seems many of you are in deep sleep. You do not want it to be disturbed. Okay, guys, come on, stay active. Last few days remaining for your examination. Give it your all in. Just a month to go, right? It's September now, almost September and now October, just month to go, and your exams are going to start. So come on, be energetic. Last, I know this period is very much difficult, but you have to stay strong so the results can be amazing. Okay, come on now, get up everyone, and message me. Yes, come on quickly. I want to hear everyone. Yes, मुझे सब. There are around 30 students live, and I want yes from every one of you. Then only I'm going to begin here from further. I want to shake you up so that you are there in the class. I don't know whatever you may feel thereafter. Unfortunately, I haven't seen you in face, or else right now I would have been definitely pointing out you each with the very good names. Only Vaishnavi and Bhumika are awake. Yes, yes, Moksha, good morning. Yes, Samita, good morning. Yes, Shika, Malika, and Aditya. Very good. That's nice. Okay. Yeah, now you are awake. Now it seems the class is really going on. वरना सुबह सुबह 7 बजे आप भी परेशान मैं भी परेशान हो रहा हूँ. Pay attention. Let's start with our next topic. Topic number 4, which is your income from house property. So now, guys, we are entering into the 5 heads of income. A good thing about this 5 heads of income that if your income is not there in all these 5 heads of income, you are lucky enough. Your income is not taxable. Okay, but there can't be any such income which is not there in this 5 heads of income, right? Why? See, as soon as you become CA, what you will get? You will get salary. Once you have collected a good amount of salary, what you will do? You will purchase a house property, right? Once you have a great, good, beautiful house, a beautiful, amazing salary, you will turn, say, to go for a business or profession, right? And then when you sell, purchase such more houses, you will get a capital gain. And अगर कुछ बच गया है आपका तो वो आ जाएगा आपका 5th head of income, which is your income from other sources. Okay, so your income is going to be taxable in any way out. इसके बाहर आपकी income बच ही नहीं सकती है. So until unless the income tax has given you specific exemption, your income is taxable, which will be there in any one of these 5 heads. Right now, first I'm starting with housing property. Okay, in the next session at 11, I will start with salary, and if time permits, definitely time will permit. It's 2.5 hour, so we'll go for capital gains as well. Okay. Tomorrow we'll complete PGPP, one complete session, and then we'll move on. So accordingly. So now coming to a house property. So any income, see now, all these 5 heads of income have a door. What is door? Door means to get into this head of income, they have some trigger point. If you push this trigger, then only you can enter into that particular head. So for entering into house property, there is a door which says that two conditions are required. If these two conditions are fulfilled, your income will be taxed under this head. What are these two conditions? First condition is that you should have a house property. You can see a beautiful house here. First condition is that you should have a house property, and second condition is that assessee should be the owner of this house property. Got it? If these two conditions are satisfied, whatever income you generate from this house property will be taxed under income from house property. So here I can say further, if I am having some income, which is not from a house I owned, will that be taxed under house property? Absolutely no. It will tax under income from other sources as subletting of house. So to enter into this head, there is only one way, which says that you should have a house property and assessee should be the owner of house property. Now when I say house property doesn't only mean the home. House property means any land and building apparento. Okay, any land and building apparento will create a house property. So it can be an office, it can be a mall, it can be a shopping mall, it can be a commercial space, it can be a house, it can be a bungalow, it can be a farmhouse, it can be whatever, but there should be land and building apparento. Okay, and assessee should be the owner of this. Further, now going further, the types of house property have been divided into three types. The first is your let out property. Let out property is one which you have simply given it on a rent, no confusion into this. The next is your self-occupied property, the property where you yourself are living. Okay, now you can maximum have two self-occupied properties. If you having more than two properties in your name, they has to be let out or they will be known as deemed to be let out. So here in this case, we have learned about three properties: let out property, self-occupied property and deemed to be let out property. Self-occupied property can be maximum 2. इससे ज़्यादा होगी तो आपने either उसको let out कर देना है or else it will be considered as you have let out them. Deemed to be let out. Why? Because we have scarcity of houses in India. So many people are living on roads, right? That can be one of the reason. Going further, this is a complete computation how you can solve your house property question. Generally, maximum teachers take the same. I don't know how your faculty has taken. You can go through that, no problem, unless your answers are correct. But right now I will just go through this. This is one which has been also shared in your study material as well. Okay, so you are going to always follow certain steps so your house property income will be correct. Okay, first step is always you will see what you will do, calculate your expected rent. What is expected rent, or it can be also known as theoretical rent? It is higher of your expected rent is higher of your municipal value or fair rent, whichever is higher, subject to standard rent. Again I am saying expected rent equals to municipal value or fair rent, whichever is higher, subject to standard rent. Okay, so now see what is the municipal value, the rent value as per the municipal authority, the local authority there. Fair rent, which is the normal rate going on there, आप अड़ोस पड़ोसी को पूछ कर ये rent ला सकते हो, पूछ सकते हो. And standard rent, which is given by the Rent Control Act. So can anyone go above the act? No. If you are below the act, then you are fine enough. But if you go above the act, then there is a problem, right? This is normal logic. The same logic you'll apply here as well. So you'll always check municipal value or fair rent, whichever is higher, but subject to standard rent. So you can't go above the ceiling, but you can't be below the ceiling. Yes. So for example, if municipal value is 1 lakh, fair rent is 1.5 lakh, which is higher, 1.5 lakh. If the standard rent is 2 lakh, no problem, this is your expected rent. But if the standard rent is 1 lakh only, you can't go above the ceiling. Your expected rent will become 1 lakh. Everyone clear? So yes, repeat with me. Municipal value or fair rent, whichever is higher, subject to standard rent. This is your expected rent. Step 2, which will calculate your actual rent, which is received or receivable. अगर रिसीवेबल भी होगा फ्यूचर में भी मिल जाएगा, नो प्रॉब्लम, यू विल कैलकुलेट हियर एक्चुअल रेंट. ओके, if you have some unrealized rent, so that you will subtract from here. So say for example, I have the actual rent, received rent of 10 months, 2 months का receivable है, but वो मुझे पता है नहीं मिलेगा, it is unrealized, so I will subtract that 2 from the 12. Everyone clear? Step 3 is the higher of expected rent or actual rent. Okay, again I'm saying, so first is your expected rent, municipal value or fair rent, whichever is higher, subject to standard rent. Okay, next is your actual rent received or receivable minus unrealized rent. If rule 4 के 4 conditions are satisfied, what are that we'll see later on. Step 3 is higher of actual rent or expected rent. From that you will subtract your municipal you will subtract this, it will become your gross annual value. From that you will subtract your municipal taxes which are actually paid by the owner, not the tenant, by the owner during the previous year. फिर वो इस साल पिछले 10 साल का भरा तो भी चलेगा, no problem, but he have to pay this during the previous year only. If he pays after previous year, allowed in next year, not this year. Okay, so whatever municipal tax are paid, not payable, paid. Okay, and then will come your net annual value. From this net annual value you will subtract two things. First is your 30% of NAV and interest on borrowed capital. This will give you your income from house property. Everyone clear? Now please remember, you will always take the 30% of NAV. Okay, and interest on borrowed capital. There are some rules for interest on borrowed capital. Okay, now here, if your house is let out or deemed to be let out, there is no limit on interest on borrowed capital. Jitna bhi hoga, interest are not principal, interest on this borrowed capital would be exempt. Yes or not exempt, will be deductible. Okay, further, in case of SOP, self-occupied property, you will check when your property is occupied. If it is after 1/4/1999, okay, and you have taken this loan for construction or purchase, okay, and if you are taking for construction, the construction is completed within 5 years of taking the loan, your limit would be 2 lakhs. If none of this satisfied, your limit would be 30,000. So again I'm saying you, we are at the direction of section 24A and B. A is 30% of NAV, no problem. B is interest on borrowed capital. So you will see what kind of house property you have. If the house property is if the house property is let out or deemed to be let out, the deduction here is unlimited, no limit on the deduction for your interest on borrowed capital. If your house property is self-occupied, in that case you have to check if your house property is after 1/4/1999 and loan has been taken for the purpose of construction or purchase, and construction has been completed within 5 years of taking loan. In such case your limit would be 2 lakhs or else your limit would be 30,000. Everyone clear? Go with this format once, try to read it very much nicely, carefully. I'm giving you 1 minute time. This format or whatever format you have learned, go with that once peacefully so it get revised. Everyone, what I will do, I will just change my setup. Just give me a minute. Yeah, is it there comfortably? Perfect. I don't know why I'm tired, a bit tired today. Yes. Everyone clear with the complete, what do we say? Your complete format. So, yes, let's quickly revise with me, guys. Everyone, come on. First step is your calculate the expected rent. What is your expected rent? Is your, what do we say, municipal value or fair rent, whichever is higher, subject to standard rent. So, standard rent के ऊपर आप नहीं जा सकते हो, नीचे आप बिल्कुल रह सकते हो. Okay, then you will calculate step 2 actual rent, which is actual rent received or receivable minus irrecoverable rent. Okay, irrecoverable rent has 4 conditions under rule 4 that has to be satisfied, then and then only you can subtract this. What are these 4 conditions? Let's see this. It's here. Yeah, see, one thing, when you can deduct the irrecoverable rent, first when the rent is, when the tenancy is bona fide, matlab it should be true. Okay, there should be no fake thing in here, because we are allowing you to subtract from your actual rent. Step 2, it should be, how should, अब जिस जो आपको रेंट नहीं दे रहा है उसको बोलो भाई घर से बाहर निकलने के लिए. The house should be vacated. Step 3 is that the tenant should not occupy. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए आपने एक घर से निकाल के उसको दूसरा घर दे दिया. And step 4, you should take such measures for recovery. So आप पहलवान लोग को बुला लो, make such measures for recovery of the rent. Okay, if these 4 conditions are satisfied, then you are allowed to subtract the irrecoverable rent from your actual rent received or receivable. Okay, step 3 is higher of expected rent or actual rent. This becomes your gross annual value. You will subtract municipal taxes paid. Always write it in the same form, municipal taxes paid. So automatically your answer would be correct. You will get your NAV. You subtract from these deductions under section your 37, what do we say, 37A, right? 24, sorry. 24, A is 30% of NAV and B is your interest on borrowed capital, which again we have seen, if the house property is let out or deemed to be let out, no limit, self-occupied, 30,000 if it is before 1999, after 1999 if construction or purchase, 2 lakh is the limit. If you have taken this loan for renovation, furnishing, painting, the limit is only 30,000. For self-occupied, deemed to be let out, no such limit is there. Okay guys, please be clear with this. Okay, now so this is a format which is there for solving your house property question. Now the chapter only revolves on different conditions. Okay, different types of conditions which are there, in that how you are going to calculate your house property income. So we are just going to discuss all these conditions and how your question answer would be formatted in such cases. Okay, the first condition is, in case of self-occupied property or unoccupied property. So whenever you have a self-occupied property, your own property, you are occupied it yourself, in that case your NAV becomes directly, your GAV becomes 0. Okay, wait a minute, not GAV, your NAV itself. GAV minus no municipal taxes are allowed to deduct, आपका NAV डायरेक्ट बन जाएगा 0. So if you pay any municipal taxes for your self-occupied property, that is not allowed, because direct आपका NAV 0 है. NAV 0 है तो 24A का डिडक्शन क्या रहेगा, वो भी 0 ही रहेगा, 30% of NAV. B का डिडक्शन क्या रहेगा, interest on borrowed capital, which has a limit of 30,000 or 2 lakh as per the case. Everyone clear? So this is how you are going to calculate your income from a self-occupied house. Next is your unrealized rent and recovery of unrealized rent. If you have any unrealized rent with you, okay, so if section rule 4 conditions are satisfied, you are allowed to deduct this. Okay, so that's what only the case there. Next is when a house property is let out for part of the year and self occupied for part of the year. Okay, when the house property is let out, just a second. Yeah, when the house property, what happened now, so during the year starting from 1st of April to 31st of March, say from 1st of April to say 6th or say 1st of April to 30th of June, it was let out, and then I have decided to go myself and stay there. So after 1st of July to 31st of March, it is self occupied. In this case, what you will do? So in this case, you treat it as normal. Wait a minute. Treat it as a single unit. Now here, do not, you won't get any concession here. See here, ER for the whole year shall be taken. So in this case, do not do any subsidy for your ER. ER for the whole year will be taken. It's not like that ER आपका सिर्फ 3-4 महीने के लिए ही लेगा. No, expected rent would be for whole year. Actual rent would be what was actually received. That is only for the month of April, May, June, 3 months. And your GAV would be higher of this. Okay, this may be a some, you may feel it is some injustice for you, but it is there. You have to go in the same form. So your expected rent will come for the total period, actual rent will come for only actual period, and the rest process will be same. So if the let out property for the part of the year is self occupied, part of the year let out, do not any go for any concession, solve the question normally. Okay, next is when a let out property is vacant for the year. Now vacant, now see there is difference. Earlier the property was self occupied for the part of year. Now the let out property is vacant for the year. Here the language used in law is quite confusing. See what is the language used here. Where the let out property is vacant for the part of the year and owing to vacancy, the actual rent is lower than expected rent, then the actual rent received or receivable will be the GAV of the property. Now see what they have said, that because of vacancy, if you are getting a loss, because of your vacancy, your actual rent is lower than expected rent, then no problem. Actual rent would be your GAV. So what you have to do in such question? These are a tricky question, interesting question, and one of the favorite part of your examiner as well. In such question, first you write expected rent. What is expected rent? Municipal value or fair rent? Come on, do with me. Municipal value or fair rent, whichever is higher. You write here actual rent. Okay, whatever months it may be. Say if it was only given for 8 months, 9 months, 7 months, whatever it was actually rented out. Actual rent plus you do here vacancy rent. So even though your house is vacant for 2-3 months, but if it would be not vacant, how much rent you would have generated? Just write it down here. Now compare this, it's an equation. Now if your RHS is greater, actual rent will become your GAV. It says that just because of your vacancy there was a loss. So this sentence is very confusing. You better go with this equation always. Next case, if your, even if it is equals to, go for the actual rent. Next case, if your expected rent is greater than actual rent plus vacancy rent, your GAV would be expected rent. Again, I don't know how your respected faculty has taught you. Again, answer is right, your process is right. Okay, so please follow your faculty, or else you are open to follow this case as you are comfortable. Okay, so now see what happened, what government want to say, the intention behind this. Government is saying that आपका actual rent में vacancy rent मिलाने के बाद भी theoretical rent is more, मतलब दया कुछ तो gadbad hai. Are you understanding the situation? See, actual rent what you are receiving, vacancy rent what you could have received, still your expected rent is more. Matlab, there is some problem here. So in that case, we will take expected rent as your GAV. But if these two are greater, in that case, we will take only the hero, that is your actual rent as your GAV. Everyone clear? It's very interesting part. One of the confusion part where students are generally confused. So you don't be confused because you always know where is a confusion, there is a question. Everyone clear with this? Come on, Semi. This is an interesting part. Semi, if everyone clear with this, then I'll go forward. Don't make me shake you again. वरना इस बार मैं घर पे आके आप सबको चेक करके जाऊंगा. Okay. Forward further. If you now let's see two examples. See here, monthly rent was 20,000. Expected rent is 1,92,000. Okay, vacancy is 3 months. So see now, always you will write down the equation. Very good. I'm so impressed by everyone's reply. Everyone is awake. Thank you so much, guys. See, it makes so much happy. Have you felt my energy has gotten low even though I am sitting here? No. So please, even don't your energy get low. Stay same. Expected rent you will compare with actual rent and vacancy rent. What is your expected rent? It is given in the question 1,92,000. What is your actual rent? Actual rent, see, 3 months it was vacant. So actual rent आपको कितने महीने का मिला होगा? Only 9 months, right? So actual rent is 1,80,000. How much period it was vacant? 3 months. How much rent was for the vacant period? 60,000. So add this up. What is the total? 2,40,000 is the total. Which is higher? This side is higher. So what becomes your GAV? Your GAV becomes your actual rent itself. Everyone clear? This is how you are going to solve this question. Very interesting. Generally students are not able to do this because they are confused, but you should definitely do this. Next example, see, monthly rent 3,000, expected rent is 1,95,000. In this case, see, your expected rent is higher than total of these two. So what is your GAV? Your GAV becomes your expected rent itself. So from the GAV, you will subtract municipal taxes paid, will give you NAV, you will subtract 30% and you will subtract interest on borrowed capital. Everyone clear? Okay. Next situation. In case of a house property, a portion let out and a portion self occupied. मतलब क्या? मतलब आपका घर एक ही है, इसका आपने आधा आधा कर दिया. This portion is let out, this portion is self occupied. In this case, how you are going to solve the question? So what you will say, you will assume that there are two houses. House unit 1 is self occupied, part 2 is let out, and divide everything right from municipal value, fair rent, standard rent, divide everything. For self occupied, your NAV would be what? 0. For let out, you will do all the different calculation, but don't forget to divide all the calculation in the respective share. Okay, so you have to see in a question how much percentage is self occupied, how much percentage is let out. Accordingly, you will decide the percentage here. If it is equal, whatever it is, just treat as two different unit in the questions where the house property is a portion is let out and a portion is self occupied. Everyone clear? Next, in case of deemed to be let out. So guys, when a property gets deemed to be let out, for example, say if I have a flat in Pune, I have a flat in Mumbai, I have a flat in Goa, I have a flat in Udupi, I have a flat in Mangalore. Hypothetical example. Because if really I would have so much flats, I don't think I would be here. I would be enjoying somewhere here or here or here, right? Or in Mumbai. So if say for example I have these 5 flats, say the flat of Udupi I have rented out, it's let out. Okay, balance, how many flats are there? 4 flats. Out of this 4, any two, without my physical occupation, any two, I can treat what? Self occupied, and the balance 2 will become deemed to be let out. Okay, सेल्फ ऑक्यूपाइड के केस में एनएवी इज जीरो, डीम टू बी लेट आउट में सी, प्रैक्टिकली सी, डीम टू बी लेट आउट मींस actually I haven't rented that house out, but for the purpose of income tax it is deemed to be let out, just like it was deemed to be accrued and deemed to be received. In this case, what will happen? So in this case where the property is deemed to be let out, your expected rent will become GAV itself, and very logical na, because there is no actual rent. Actually तो मुझे rent मिला ही नहीं है, it is deemed to be let out. So in deemed to be let out properties, the expected rent itself will become your actual rent. Okay, sorry, expected rent will itself become your gross annual value, and further step you will do normally minus municipal taxes paid and NAV, and then subtract 30% and then the interest on borrowed capital. Please remember, for let out property and deemed to be let out property, there is no limit on interest on borrowed capital. Okay, so this could be the case here. Now here, this is one of the very important question. I don't know what is the question number in the study material, but I feel it is the same name of Ganesh. Okay, this question is very important because if this question comes, it comes for around 8 to 10 marks. Okay, a very simple question. If you solve it once and then you go to your examination. We'll go to this question. Let me finish, a small part of this chapter is remaining. Let me finish this and then we'll go to the question and we'll see how to solve this question as well. As this question is important, I'm going to take the solution of this question into your class itself. Okay. Now, before this, are you clear with the deemed to be let out thing? Okay. It is again an interesting thing. If the question has to be difficult, generally it comes from this part. Okay. The next case is when a house is held as a stock in trade. मतलब क्या? मतलब there is a builder who has made a building. He have sold 2 houses. Rest 4 houses are his stock in trade. Means his inventory. Means it is lying with him which are not sold yet. So what this provision says, pay attention. In such case, the annual value of such property are nil. The benefit is available only up to 2 years from the end of a financial year. So see this, the benefit of NAV nil to a builder who has houses in stock in trade is available for only 2 years from the end of financial year when the building was completed. So for example, if the building was completed here in year 1819, so from the end of this financial year, 2 years, this is the NAV would be considered zero. After that it will become deemed to be let out for the balance year. So it says that builder should sell his property at least in 2 years from the end of the financial year when he has made this. Even if then it is not able to sell this property, then we'll consider this as deemed to be let out properties, and then it will be taxed in the hands of the builder. Everyone clear? Yes. So to whoever it is in stock in trade, please remember, whenever the house is completed from the end of that financial year, so in our example, the house was completed in 1819. So from the end of this financial year, 2 years, it is NAV 0. Thereafter, it will be taken as deemed to be let out if you haven't sold it. Okay. Last part, if you recover any irrecoverable rent taken earlier. So as per rule 4 condition, earlier years when you haven't recovered some of the what we say, some of the amount as a rent, okay, but later on in future they come back and they pay you this rent, the irrecoverable rent is paid to you. In that case what will happen, see, whatever rent is paid to you, you take that, you take a 30% 30% allowance, and the balance would be taxable. So if someone comes back and pays me 50,000, 30% would be allowed a deduction. Why? Because this is already a deduction we give under section 24A. So this is 30% is how much? 15,000 will be allowed a deduction. The balance 35,000 would be taxable in income from house property. Everyone clear? But there is an interesting condition here, that when I was taking this as a irrecoverable, say the government official allowed me only 30,000 as irrecoverable, and he said 20,000 is not allowed, sir. If this happens, in this case, in future, if you recover, say, in future from this 50,000, I have recovered, say, 30,000. So first I will minus from here, and the balance would be only taxable. मतलब जितना आपका डिसअलाउ कर दिया पहले दूसरे दुश्मनी निकालो, जितना डिसअलाउ किया you subtract that from your areas of rent, and then the balance you get taxable. If it was not disallowed, all was allowed and on your deduction, then whatever you receive later on, it will be completely taxable after 30% deduction. Everything clear? Okay, and thereafter the last thing here is concept of joint ownership. So when you have a house all together with some more persons, it is a joint owned house, and in this case if this house is let out or deemed to be let out, what you do is you solve the question normally. Finally, whatever answer comes, whatever income from house property comes, divide it among all the owners. Okay, once again I'm saying, when the house property is jointly owned, in this case, if the house property is let out, solve it normally, and the final income whichever comes, divide among all owners. Okay, but if the jointly owned property is self occupied, solve separately for all the co-owners, and every co-owner will get the limit of 2 lakh or 30,000 respectively. Okay, so that's why you have to separately calculate all for separate all the co-owners living in the same house. Everyone clear? So this is what happens when a jointly owned property is there. लेट आउट है तो कोई टेंशन नहीं है, पूरा लेट आउट का रेंट लो और फाइनली इनकम को आपके सारे ओनर में डिवाइड कर दो. सेल्फ ऑक्यूपाइड है, देन कैलकुलेट दिस क्वेश्चन सेपरेटली फॉर ऑल द ओनर्स. ओके, फर्दर if you are receiving a composite rent matlab you are in cities nowadays, what happen, the people don't only give the house on rent, they also give furniture on rent as well. If there is a composite rent, and if agreement is separate for furniture and for house property, so for house property will go in house property, for other assets, rent for other asset will go in income from other sources or PGBP if it's your business. Okay, if it is a composite rent which includes a part of for property and a part of your furniture, electricity, electric equipment, everything as well. And if agreement is separable, if agreement is not separable, put everything under your income from other source, don't let it come into your income from house property. So it's beneficial for the guys who have income from a house property, which is not only from house property but other assets as well, have a separate agreement, or an agreement specifies separately how much is for your house and how much is for your other assets. For house will go in HP, for other asset will go in income from other sources. Okay, and then comes a deemed ownership, which says that is when individual transfer a house to his or her spouse without consideration or inadequate consideration, the owner will be still the one who transfers the house. So if a wife transfers a house to husband without consideration or inadequate consideration, which generally won't happen, okay, but still if it happens, the wife would be only considered as the deemed owner. Okay, I will revise this to you when we will be doing clubbing of income. That time you have to remember this. But if it's transfer in the connection of live apart, बेचारा already दर्द में है, हम और दर्द नहीं देंगे. No deemed ownership would be here. Further, if an individual transfer house property to a minor child other than minor married daughter, in that case also the transferor would be the deemed owner. In case of cooperative society, the trust will be the deemed owner, and in case of impartial asset, Hindu impartial asset, the holder of the asset would be the deemed owner. Okay, so here we finish our chapter number 4, income from house property as well. Okay, let me know if any particular concept has to be taught again, has to be taken in a quicker way. Please, without any hesitation, let me know. I'm here sitting right for you. Okay, I do not mind taking any number of classes for you. If you want any particular topic to be repeated 100 times, please make your each minute valuable here. Okay, your every minute counts. Okay, so if you and if I'm available for you live from here, it's only for your purpose, not just to finish my revision. So if you have any kind of query, anything, please specify it, ask me to repeat. I will repeat it n number of time for you. Make maximum benefit of the availability of all the faculties for you. Okay, we have arranged this session specially for you for your revision, so please make maximum benefit. Okay, yes, so please let me know if you have any query in this chapter. If not, I will just take you to the question shortly, and that I will just take you to the question to that. Yes, same, if any specific thing has to be covered here, guys. Yes, same here, anything has to be covered, or you are clear, guys? Wait a minute. Everyone clear? Okay, very good. So let's come to this question, guys. See what this question asks you. It's from your study material only, illustration number 8. Okay. See, Ganesh has 3 houses. All of these are self-occupied. But how much maximum self-occupied house you can have, guys? 2. And the good thing is that any 2 you can have. You do not need to see a physical existence which you are having. So what we'll have, we will obviously have the 2 which is having maximum GAV, because that will give maximum benefit to your client. Okay. So see here, the value of house 1, house 2, house 3 has been given to you. So in this such house where the option is upon you to treat any 2 as self-occupied and 1 as deemed to be let out. So you will take that 2 houses which has a maximum GAV. So your step 1 is that you consider all the houses as self-occupied. And step 2 is to consider all the houses that are let out and calculate your GAV. Okay. So see here, step 1, considering all the houses as let out. So this will help. So you have to try different combination. पहले हम treat करेंगे 1 2 को self occupied and 3 को let out. 1 3 को let out, 1 3 को self occupied, 2 को let out. So we'll try all the three combinations here. So for this you should have all the data. So step 1, consider all the house let out, create all the data. Step 2, consider all the house self occupied, create all the data. So see here, step 1, they have considered all the houses as the let out one. So if it is let out one, so there is no limit on interest on borrowed capital. So see, municipal value or fair rent, whichever is higher, 375 is higher, but subject to standard rent 350. So 350 is your expected rent. Further, 360 or 275, whichever is higher, 360. What is your standard rent? 370. You're under ceiling, no problem. 360 will become your GAV, right? Next, 330 or 380, whichever is higher, but subject to standard rent, which is 375. So 375 becomes your GAV. Now please, when you're solving your questions, please remember, don't solve in this way how we are doing it here in class. आपको इंस्टीट्यूट के मटेरियल को चेक करने की जरूरत नहीं है, वो बिल्कुल सही है. आपको प्रैक्टिकली चीजें सॉल्व करके देखनी है. अभी वी डोंट हैव टाइम, सो आई एम जस्ट टेकिंग दिस. Or else in normal class we do solve each and every question of your study material, and that is what expected from you as well when you do self study. Okay, so now because the property is deemed to be let out, here your expected rent itself becomes your GAV minus municipal taxes which are actually paid. वो हमने minus कर दिए. We got the NAV. Deduction of section 24A, 30% of the NAV. B, interest on borrowed capital. So now see here, there was no borrowed capital, so no tension. यहाँ पे जितना भी interest है पूरा पूरा ले लो, because there is no limit for deemed to be let out. We are considering all the three as deemed to be let out. So your income from house properties respectively. Okay. Now we are taking different combinations. We are treating house 1 and house 2 as self occupied. आप यहाँ पे इसके साथ working note 2 बना सकते हो. Treat all the three houses as self occupied. So that way again data will be available for you. वापस दिमाग लगाने का काम नहीं है. Okay. So in this example see that treating house 1 and house 2 as self occupied. House 1 में तो कोई लोन भी नहीं है. NAV 0, 30% 0, interest on capital 0, nil, no problem. House 2, there was interest on borrowed capital, but as it is self-occupied, the limit is how much? 30,000 or 2 lakh. So in this case, 30,000 is the limit. That what we took. So negative 30,000 is the self-occupied house 2 income, and let out house 3 का income हमने वैसे क्या वैसा ले लिया. So option 1 with having 1 and 2 house as self-occupied and 3 as let out gives you income of 43,640. Option 2, treating 1 and 3 as self-occupied and 2 as let out. So let out की तो income हम वैसे क्या वैसे ले लेंगे. 176. 1 का already we know nil. 2 का interest on borrowed capital is 175. It is for the, see, it is for the borrowed in the purchase of property. ये repairs का था इसलिए limit थी 30,000. ये purchase है तो limit is 2 lakh. It is well within the limit. So the income would be minus 175. So your income from house property from option 2, which treats 1 and 3 as self-occupied, comes 1840. Let's go to option 3, which treats option 2 and house 2 and 3 as self-occupied. So here 2 and 3 का self-occupied. So first का income हमने ले लिया deemed to be let out से, हमारे working note से. Okay, 2 का हमें पता है कितना income है आपका 176. सॉरी, हाउस 2 का लिमिट 30,000 और 3 का 175 as they are self-occupied. So your income comes, but this total has to be also limited to 2 lakhs only. Okay, so your income comes how much? 19,800. So which option is more feasible for you? Option 1, 2 or 3? Yes guys, which option is more feasible for you? Not only feasible, but which option gives you the lesser profit? Yes, option 2. So that's what we'll opt for, and we'll opt for the client as well. So in such questions which gives you authority to choose any two house as deemed to be let out. So in this case what you will do step 1, consider all houses as deemed to be let out, do a working note. Step 2, consider all houses as self-occupied, do a working note. Okay, and then you will take all combinations, the combination which gives you least tax, that's what you're going to finalize. Now see, the question is quite simple, but when such question will altogether come as a surprise to you in examination, it will become difficult for you to solve in the pressure of examination. So such questions you should star mark them, so once you go through them, you know the process, then it's quite easy for you to solve in the examination. So if this question comes, it comes around 8 to 10 marks, so you get a bonus 8 to 10 marks with just a simple question like this, which you should not never miss. Okay, so you know the process, you know the steps how to solve this, and that will give you definitely a great marks in your examination as well. Okay, with this we finish our house property chapter revision as well. The next session, okay, in the meantime, please let me know again if you have any problem or not, or any particular thing has to be repeated, including the vacancy wala rent. एक बार मैं vacancy वाला repeat करता हूँ because generally students have confusion there. What you will do whenever the vacancy word comes, not irrecoverable rent. Irrecoverable rent is different. That has to be simply subtracted from the actual rent if rule 4 conditions are satisfied. Whenever the word vacancy comes, आपके दिमाग का बत्ती जलना चाहिए. You know how your दिमाग बत्ती looks like this. Okay, as soon as the word vacancy comes, you have to go for the equation. Write down the equation. Expected rent, write down the equation first. Actual rent plus vacancy rent. Okay, once you write it, then do the actual thing. Write down the expected rent. What is that? Actual municipal value or fair rent, whichever is higher, subject to standard rent. एक्चुअल रेंट जो भी आपको एक्चुअली मिला होगा माइनस इररिकवेबल आप लिखोगे, जो भी वैकेंट पीरियड होगा उसका अलग से लिखोगे, एंड देन यू विल गिव द साइन. इफ दिस इज हायर, दिस बिकम्स जीवी. इफ दिस इज हायर, दिस बिकम्स जीवी. एवरीवन क्लियर? यस. So this is in case of vacancy. So say me, is everything fine? I'll try my best to take all the concepts of this chapter. Okay, I will suggest that what question we have just done right now, go with that. It will help you a lot. Okay, next session we are having right now today itself at 11. Okay, so in this session we will do we'll start with salary, and we'll do capital gains. Okay, so this will be there from 1 to 1:30, or see, let's see if we can go to 2 as well. Okay, so that's what we are going to do at 11. It may happen I'll be late for this session by maximum 2 to 5 minutes, so please stay there. I am going to be there, the session is going to be there, and we are going to take the same. Okay, that's it for now. Thank you so much for your patience hearing. Let me know if you have any queries in the next session start as well. No issue at all. I'm always available for you at your fingertips. Okay, also guys, when you are preparing, if you have any doubt, okay, for while solving any particular thing, you can just WhatsApp message me. Just WhatsApp message me on 7293 292 291. Okay, you just WhatsApp message me. I will be definitely promptly trying my best to give you a reply at the earliest. Okay, so that's how you can connect me for any of the query you have. Rest, you have all faculties as well, the local faculties, no problem, all respected, everyone is fine. However you are comfortable with any of the thing. Okay, that's it. We'll stop here for now. Thank you so much. Bye bye, take care. See you at sharp 11, not sharp or 5 minutes late, by 11. Thank you, take care. Bye bye guys. Yes, in the meantime, if you have any queries, please ask me. If no queries, you can go off. Thank you. Bye bye. Okay, it seems no one of you have queries. That's it then. Bye bye.